world is that? It's so unusual. Doesn't it look like we're in the clouds? We are in the clouds. We just don't have it thick upon us or around us. Ooh, that's a beautiful bird. It's in the clouds, like they were close to us. See, action speaks volume. The ego that we all should be working to shed, the fictitious ego. The ego, I wanted to do a video called The Ego Kills. That's why the ego has no life and no ability for life, you know. We think that the ego has life, but it only has what you give it. And the life that you give it is so horrible because it's the life that's been created for it, which is a fake life. Fake everything, because it is fake. It's not the real you. The real you is the Ba. The real me is the Ba. Too. Hey there. I love my people, and there's some things within the universe that is unsettling. And that's the point that we are not united as a people. We don't understand our plight, that the opposition against us has created a world, a fictitious world around us, a world of fakery. And it's showing in our food now. It's showing in our food. Of course, they can roll out that it's going to show in our food because they have been successful at biologically and genetically altering us as a people. And because they were able to do that, that was the first step. The second step is to feed us and to genetically to keep us down and in poor health. So we have a lot of people that feel that instead of sticking together, and this is understandable because I've experienced in my life. I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about it if I didn't experience things in my life where they find their own undesirable because of the conditions that we are faced and living in, the conditions we are in. Money has become our new survival. Where in the past, survival was as a group, and we would do it together as a group. That's why we, in the 50s and the 40s, well, the 40s and the 30s, we had communities, we had cities, and those, of course, got destroyed, burnt up, and threatened. And people were harassed, I might as well call it harassment, when they continue with this racism against them. And that's what they endured, so much that the solution of integrating was the only thing they felt could free them. So they were forced to grow closer and closer to the opposition. But like I said before in the video, that it's not about race. It's about what's inside of us. It's about who we are. And the opposition is, if you think of it as the ego, because that's what it is. It's the ego. And the ego is that which is fictitious, is fake. And a lot of us have the egos. And because we have the egos, because it replaces what we had stolen from us, what we had taken from us, and that's our identity. And I hope this hits home to our people that this ego is not who you are. And you know that this ego is not who you are. Excuse me. You are more than the ego. You are a Ba. That's why I deemed us to call ourselves Ba, Bantu, Batu, Bantu, Bantu. That's how you pronounce it. So, because it's nothing to do with anything attached to the planet, because we are inside of a womb. If you see the planet, we are inside of a womb. And in a womb, the mother's womb, everything is supplied for you already. There's no need for you to have money in the womb. And that's where we're at. But due to this ego that has come across the planet and has made human form, was made into human form, because when you do a human being, when you're trying to create a human being, you have to have a Ba. You have to have a Ba first. And that Ba comes in from what we call out of in the ether and out of space, and it comes into a body through the womb. It forms in the womb, and it comes into life. And it has a balance. It has a balance about it. Because it has the physical body. We came into the womb and we came out in a physical body, but when we was in that, we were in between physical and the spiritual in that womb. And we come out and we have that balance of spiritual as well as physical, whereby the opposition, the white blood cell, comes from being created, and that's hence the creation story, to having to have something to fill it. It has to have something to fill it. So what fills it is all these other things, and it's pretty much low energy, low frequency that fills it. It's called the ego. It's what they call the ego. And it fills up the body of the blood cell, white blood cell. And it is ruled by the ego. So this is why we have so much issues on our planet. This is why we aren't free on this planet. Because the ego wants to live. The ego wants to be in existence, and it's come in between us as the soul or the Ba that has come into the body to live too. But we live in balance, and it lives in a situation that is totally out of balance. So, because it's living out of balance, we have issues like it feeling like it has to control everything on the planet. It has to be into everything on the planet. It has to have own land on the planet. It has to not just only own land on the planet, but control people from moving from land to land on the planet. So a particular people do not have free reign on the planet as the ego has. The ego has free reign over the planet, and it continues embodying others who have souls with the ego. It continues to penetrate others with ego. And usually these other people are those who don't have the identity of who they are. And it was stolen from them, as well as everything that that mother's womb gave them. Life. It was stolen. So they were controlled. And they gotten so into a controlled situation that they've forgotten that they were controlled, and started to sympathize with their opposition so much that they procreated with their opposition and did not gain anything from that relationship of the opposition, because the opposition is ego. When the opposition is ego, love isn't giving anymore. Love is, they become take. It becomes take. And it becomes an unfair, imbalanced situation for all on the planet. It's just like a domino effect. And one would think that an individual, in this society, they say the individual doesn't affect other individuals. They say that the environment does not affect the individual. They try to say that. But the environment does affect the individual, because the individual, like me, for example, I feel energies. I feel energies around me. And I know when something is not right, when something is detrimental or something is an issue. Not just for me, but for the greater, the greater existence. But the ego also is so concerned with existing. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how the ego wants to exist. It wants to find new places to exist upon. It wants to keep others out of other places, or for having in any place at all. The ego can have his own space, but they still want you to be controlled and not have anything. They can have their own space and be happy, but they put stoppers on your ability to do the same in your life. You see? So what I don't understand, it's not just men who procreate with them. It's women as well. I do not understand, why would you want that characteristic? Why don't you see what is inside of people instead of seeing what's outside of people? Because those people that you see the outside of them, and they have all the riches of the planet. They have well, not all the riches of the planet, but they have all the riches that Benjamin Franklin has created. And they tend to be the ones who think that they can influence whether somebody is, they have this thing about good and bad. You can't have good without the bad. How do you know good if you don't know the bad? How do you know bad if you don't know the good? You can't say good or bad in a situation, How do you know that? Unless you have to be bad to know the bad. You know, you have to be good to know the good. You know, to know what good is, to experience something or experience the bad, the opposite, to know what's good. And within yourself first, before you point out at other people. And they have an issue where they can't see that within themselves at all. It's this world of where everything is supposed to be lily white, but it's not. I saw a sign at school that said, some kids are smarter than you. Some kids dress better than you. Smarter and better than you. I would not word it like that in a school, and for these children, for one thing, because children